The thief has been caught. Listen very carefully. Not maybe, not someday, right now. A spiritual arrest has taken place. Something that was hiding in darkness has been dragged into the light. And when the light exposes a thief, everything changes. When truth shows up, what was stolen cannot remain stolen. You are not hearing these words by coincidence. Your phone did not choose this message randomly. Your steps were guided here because something in the spirit realm has shifted over your life. Heaven has been reviewing your case. Every loss, every tear, every injustice, every silent disappointment, none of it was ignored. God kept records. And now a decision has been rendered. For years life felt like a strange robbery. Things slipped out of your hands that you worked so hard to hold on to. You trusted someone, and they mishandled your trust. You planned carefully, and chaos showed up anyway. You saved, and then one emergency erased everything. You poured into people who took advantage of your kindness. You prayed, and yet situations still broke. You felt like you were constantly rebuilding what kept getting torn down. And somewhere deep inside, you whispered, "God, what am I doing wrong? Why do I obey, and still struggle? Why does it feel like I am losing battles I never chose?" You tried to be strong. You tried to stay positive. But inside, there was grief. Grief over time wasted, energy lost, opportunities that vanished. It felt like your best years were slipping away unnoticed. But the truth is far different. Heaven was not ignoring you. Heaven was investigating. God was watching patterns form, loss after loss, betrayal after betrayal, breakthrough almost happening, then collapsing. The enemy thought he was getting away with it, but God was quietly collecting evidence. And when God finishes gathering evidence, he doesn't negotiate. He judges. And his judgment is this: the thief has been identified, and repayment is now required. The spiritual world functions on laws, just like the natural world does. Gravity pulls, fire burns, seeds grow. Likewise in the spirit realm, there is a law concerning stolen blessing. Once the thief is exposed, once his activity is recognized, he no longer has legal ground to hold on to what was taken. Repayment is no longer optional. It becomes demanded. Think for a moment about your journey. How many times did something good begin, only to break? How often did someone smile at you, then hurt you? How often did peace come, then disappear overnight? The enemy hoped you'd assume it was simply life, that you'd blame yourself, that you'd lower your expectations and say, "Maybe this is just my destiny." But God never accepted that as your destiny. You were never meant to live cheated. You were never meant to live constantly behind. You were never meant to carry shame for what wasn't your fault. You were created to walk in alignment, purpose, identity, and blessing, not as a spoiled child, but as someone entrusted to build and bless with what God provides. The enemy, however, does not hand things back willingly. He clings tightly. He sits on blessings like a squatter sitting in someone else's house. He uses delay, discouragement, and distraction to keep you silent. Because as long as you think you have no right to claim what was lost, he remains comfortable. But today that comfort has ended. God has stepped forward, not as a gentle suggestion giver, but as the authoritative judge of all creation. When he speaks restitution, no demon argues successfully. No darkness can appeal. When God orders return, return becomes inevitable. It may not rush in 1 second, but once the command is written, the process begins and it cannot be undone. And just like the Israelites who suffered injustice for generations, God refused to let them walk out broken. They had worked without wages. They had built what others enjoyed. They had been controlled, devalued, mistreated. Yet when the time came, God applied pressure. Not softly, not politely. He disrupted systems, he shook structures, he made oppressors uncomfortable, until the ones who once said, "You will never leave," were suddenly saying, "Please go, take everything." That same principle is now touching your story. Situations that kept you stuck will start shifting. People who blocked you will find themselves unable to stop what God is opening. Things that seemed frozen will slowly thaw. Delays will lose their grip. Closed doors will not stay closed forever. But understand this, restoration with God is never equal. When humans repay, they say, "Here is what you lost." When God repays, he says, "Here is what you lost, and here is overflow." Sevenfold is not about numbers alone. It is about completeness. Restoration so thorough that your past wounds no longer dictate your future behavior. Healing so deep that triggers break. Provision so steady that anxiety quiets. Honor so unexpected that shame dissolves. Sometimes restoration comes as resources, sometimes as opportunities, sometimes as relationships built on truth instead of lies, sometimes as strength, courage, and wisdom you never had before. In every case, God restores in ways that build you, not break you again. But there is a role you must play, because silent believers rarely collect what has been promised. Your agreement matters. The enemy thrives when you say nothing. He interprets silence as surrender. As long as you say, "Maybe this was God's will," he sits on what's yours comfortably. But the moment you awaken to spiritual rights, your voice becomes powerful. Not arrogance, not ego, authority grounded in faith. This is not yelling in the air. This is enforcing a judgment already spoken. This is stepping forward and declaring, "What God writes, I accept. What God orders, I receive. What God decrees, I agree with." So right now, settle your heart. You are not begging. You are standing. You are not forcing God. You are aligning with Him. Speak from your spirit, God. You saw everything I lost. You saw every tear I never told anyone about. You watched the seasons where I felt empty and alone. And today I accept your verdict. Where the thief is exposed, restoration must come. I cancel agreement with loss. I cancel agreement with fear. I stand under your justice. What was taken must return multiplied. I receive wisdom with blessing. I receive peace with provision. I receive strength with opportunity. And I choose to walk forward with faith, not fear. Pause for a moment. Let your breath slow. That peace you feel isn't weakness. It is divine assurance. When God confirms something in your spirit, your body senses relief, because you are no longer fighting alone. Heaven has stepped onto the battlefield. Now understand, miracles are often quiet at first. A conversation opens, an idea comes, a door cracks, a bill changes, a situation softens. These are signals. Respond with gratitude, not doubt. Say, "Thank you, Lord. I see the beginning." Gratitude keeps the flow open, but be prepared. Doubt will try to fight its way back in. Not dramatically, subtly. Whispering, "Don't expect too much. Don't get your hopes up. Nothing changes." When that whisper comes, answer it calmly. My faith is not in circumstance. My faith is in God, and He is restoring me. And prepare yourself for the blessing you are asking for. Restoration comes with responsibility. God doesn't return things so we can repeat mistakes. He returns them so we can build better. Learn boundaries. Honor your resources. Value your peace. Do not invest in people who repeatedly tear you down. Protect what God gives, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Some people will exit your life during restoration. Do not panic. When God promotes, He also purifies. He removes sabotage before it can operate again. Trust Him. Every subtraction in restoration season is actually protection. Soon your heart will notice subtle changes. You'll think better, worry less, wake lighter, laugh honestly. Ideas will come, courage will return, and you will realize the old weight has finally lifted. This is restoration at work. And yes, financial situations can shift, opportunities can open, contracts can appear, unexpected help can arise, not always dramatically, often strategically. God aligns circumstances rather than dropping everything instantly. Walk through what He opens, move wisely, take steps, participate. Before long you will look back and realize, I survived, I healed, I rebuilt, and God truly turned it. Your story will not end with they took everything. It will end with, but God restored what mattered and multiplied what returned. Now make a declaration, not as magic, but as agreement. Say, I claim my restoration. I stand under God's justice. What was stolen returns with increase. Hold on to that. Repeat it when fear tries to come back. Let it settle, because the thief has been caught. The case has been settled. The order has gone out, and your season of quiet recovery, visible breakthrough, and strong rebuilding has begun. Get ready, because what's coming will not look like loss. It will look like redemption, and when restoration begins, something else happens that most people don't expect. God doesn't just return what was taken. He starts revealing why the battle was so intense in the first place. You begin to understand that the enemy fought you hard because there was something valuable tied to your future. You were not attacked because you were weak. You were attacked because you carry purpose. If the enemy truly believed you were insignificant, he would have ignored you. He goes after areas that threaten his agenda: faith, destiny, influence, compassion, generosity, calling. And every time you refused to quit, every time you prayed through tears, every time you believed again after disappointment, you were growing spiritually stronger, even when you felt weakest. That strength is about to show. You are going to look back at certain seasons and realize, that loss didn't break me, that betrayal didn't destroy me, that delay didn't erase me. Instead, they trained me. They taught me how to stand. They taught me how to listen to God. They taught me discernment, patience, and wisdom. What looked like destruction was actually preparation. And when restoration comes, humility comes with it. You won't boast. You won't say, "Look what I did." You will say, "Look what God brought me through," because you'll know deep inside, if it had not been for God, you wouldn't have made it through those nights, those storms, those silent cries. This is why the next season of your life will carry gratitude instead of pride. You will appreciate what others take for granted. Peace will feel precious. Quiet moments will feel holy. Good relationships will feel like gifts, not guarantees. And resources will be used wisely, not wasted, because you remember what it was like to have very little. That's part of restoration too. Maturity. And listen, restoration isn't only about what comes to you. It is also about what grows in you. Courage grows, faith grows, love grows, stability grows, confidence grows. And suddenly you find yourself able to help others who are going through what once nearly destroyed you. You become a voice of comfort, a sign of hope, living proof that God rebuilds what life tried to break. There will be people who look at you and say, "How are you still standing after everything?" And you will answer, "Grace." Not luck, not chance, grace. As God restores, He will also close some doors permanently, not to punish you, but to protect you. Certain cycles will end. Certain connections will never return. And that is a blessing. Because restoration isn't going backward. Restoration is God pulling you forward, without the weights that once held you in place. So walk into this season with expectancy, not fear. You don't need to chase what God sends. You don't have to manipulate outcomes. Blessing doesn't run from people who walk in alignment. What is meant for you will reach you, and when it arrives, it will bring peace, not confusion. From this moment forward, train your mouth to speak life. When doubt shows up, speak faith. When fear whispers, speak truth. When worry rises, speak peace, because your words create room for what God is sending. Say it again inside your heart: I receive my restoration. I walk into what God has prepared. I move forward, healed. I move forward whole. And as you do, trust this: God is not late, He is precise. Every delay had timing attached. Every battle had purpose hidden in it. And every tear watered seeds that are beginning to grow. The thief has been caught. The order has been released. And the season ahead of you carries recovery, rebuilding, and divine compensation. Get ready, not with panic, but with quiet confidence, because what is coming belongs to you.